Hey guys, this is Matt from alphamatfitness.com, and it's another quick video coming at you to talk about basically my past failures and hopefully help some people out there not make the same mistakes that I've made. Now, I've been pretty much on an unofficial journey to become ripped ever since I was 18 years old, basically, or 17, 18, around that age, right? I was always a chunky kid, right? I was always overweight. I've never been at a stage in my life where I actually had like a lot of fat under my skin, on my stomach, and on my body, right? I mean, I remember back when I was probably about 11 or 12 maybe, in my grandparents' house, they used to have a scale in their bathroom. I'd go in there and weigh myself. I remember seeing the scale of 165, whatever, and I was just a kid, right? 160, 165, and I was probably only like, at that point, maybe 5'5", 5'6", or something, just still growing, right? So, a kid at that age, being that weight, right? I mean, looking back, I didn't think much of it, right? And I just slowly crept up over the years, and I reached a point when I was 17, 18, and I was like, I want to lose weight, I want to get in shape, I want to get abs and ripped, right? So, I got a gym membership, learned about nutrition, one of my first nutrition books was called The Abs Diet. I remember reading this in my bedroom when I was like 17, 18. The Abs Diet book was basically a book put out by Men's Health back in the early 2000s. And it basically went into clean eating, basically, so basic topics that are pretty much the norm these days, like focusing on lean proteins and nuts and whole foods and fibrous vegetables and all this stuff, right? So all this stuff that's kind of just taken as gospel now, this book kind of like went over it. And there's another book I bought, Chapters, I think, or Indigo, back in the day, Kohl's maybe even, early 2000s, late 90s, and it was like, it's called Banish Your Belly, right? And it kind of talked about everything, right? It talked about how humans have evolved from, being essentially foragers back in the day when humans were cavemen, and how our bodies have adjusted to conserve energy, and how, the daily life and calorie expenditure of, say, a caveman or a hunter-gatherer versus, like an office worker these days, and how modern food and so high in calories have kind of brought us to this point. So, I learned a lot from those books, started exercising. I lost a shitload of weight. I think I went from like over 200 pounds at that point. I was by full height now, 5'9", 5'10", and I dropped down to like 159 pounds doing that, right? Over the course of like 6-7 months or whatever it was. And then the funny thing is I went off. So I basically reverted to my old ways. I started eating fast food again, junk food, and going back to my old ways, essentially, and gained weight back, and gained it all back, right? So I stopped. Basically, it was just a really terrible approach thinking of it. Like, I'd go hardcore, and I think I did everything right looking back, pretty close. I did a lot of things right, some things wrong, but I always did resistance training. I did, things like fasted cardio, and I did quite a bit of cardio. I did maybe too much cardio back in the day, but I did cardio, I did my weights, I did everything from the get-go correct. I didn't do a lot of fad diet, so I'm grateful in the sense that I always did things relatively proper from day one. But I stopped at about 6-7 months, having gone down to 160 and not being ripped, because I didn't have enough muscle mass at that point, so I just lost the fat. But I probably needed to be like 140 some pounds at that point, like to actually be like have a lean, muscular look. But without a lot of muscle, it was kind of hard at that weight. So I just fell off the wagon, and I had a lot of things where I would get with a girl, for example, like a girlfriend, and I would just stop, right? So I stopped working out again for a couple of years, gained a lot of it back, went back up to 200 something pounds, right? And did it again in university, right? I think I was third, fourth year university. I was working out again, the same kind of thing, right? Heavy weights, training. I did everything proper, so I built a lot of muscle. This was all in a calorie deficit, right? So I gained muscle, all my strength, calorie deficits for the most part over the years, while losing the fat. But the thing is, I went back to the same routine again. I probably met a girl at the point, and I've had a lot of turmoil in my personal relationships. So all that affected kind of like my progress in the gym and kind of what I did. Like I'd get in pretty good shape. I'd lose a lot of fat, put on some muscle, get strong, look pretty good. Not ripped ever, really. Never got ripped. I always had like a decent layer on my stomach, and other areas of my body. Then I stopped again. I stopped again, right? So I would just give up. Like it wouldn't be like, a lot of times it'd be abrupt too. It's within a couple weeks to just stop, right? And stop working out, stop exercising, stop eating healthy, and just go back to just fucking doing fuck all, right? Like I call it willy-nilly eating. It's basically like when you just grab something and eat because it looks good, right? But then I did it again, repeated it again. A couple of years later, I met my ex-wife, and I stopped again, and I had a couple kids, gained it all back again, right? And I've done this process like 4 or 5 times, or 6 times maybe in my life, and it never stuck, right? It went, I lost 50, 60 pounds and gained muscle, and I would just stop, man. Go all the way back, right? And I still haven't gotten ripped yet. I'm the closest I am to getting the rip right now, and I look the best I do at the weight I do now, which is about 176, 177 pounds right now. 14% body fat, I think. The outline of my abdominals are coming in blurry, but I'm at the best shape, so I have the most amount of muscle mass in my life at this point, right? So my story is not perfect. It's still, if I have to give anyone any advice, is don't quit and don't just stop, right? You got to make it permanent. And that's why I'm so adamant on making permanent lifestyle choices, because I've been through this up and down. I mean, you can call it yo-yo dieting, and it kind of was, but I mean, at least I did things correct. I always try to get a lot of protein in, right? So this time around, I've done a lot of, during this transformation, which is my final fat loss transformation, I've made a commitment to make lifetime goals. And a big part of that is tracking calories, tracking protein, carbs, fats, and being realistic with myself and what kind of habits I can build that can stick not only for the duration of this transformation, I guess you could call it, but just doing it long term, right? And starting to enjoy it and incorporate it in part of my life. And I think I've succeeded at this, and this is something that you guys also need to kind of look at yourself. Like what in your personal life and what in your mind will prevent you from reaching your ultimate goals, right? Is it because you expect quick results and you don't get them, you stop? Is it because what you are doing is not maintainable? Like, all you eating is dry, lean, boiled chicken and sweet potatoes every day? I mean, I'd get sick of that too, right? Are you expecting quick results? Like, are you going to the gym expecting to get ripped really quick, or like lose 10 pounds a week, and do you get discouraged, right? Is it lifestyle, right? Do you party too much? Are you not getting enough sleep? Are your friends or family preventing you in some way, right? Do you need to make more sacrifices, right? So for me, it's just stopping and then getting fat and then repeating, stopping and getting fat and repeating. And I just fucking, to me, those were successes, but also failures, because I didn't keep going with it. If I would have kept going with it since I was 18, like say I never quit that first time, I'd be fucking not only ripped at this point, but I'd probably have way more muscle mass, because I would have stuck it in the gym and I would have done proper things, right? So if I can go back and teach myself, to learn a lesson, what I done wrong was to not give up and not just stop, right? That's the biggest mistake everyone makes, and it's the biggest thing that holds you back, right? Guys that are like lean and ripped and strong and they're only like in their early 20s are that way because they've trained hard and consistent for a lot of their teenage years too, right? You don't just jump into it like that. So and that's kind of my story, right? It's kind of like when I say I failed a lot before, that's basically what I mean. I've failed in the sense that I stopped doing what I've held closest and dearest to my heart, which is fitness, right? Fitness has always to me been a comforting thing. It's always been there for me. I haven't had a lot of luck with personal relationships or with family or depending on other people. And in my experience, I've had a lot of people basically abandon me, right? So fitness is something that's never abandoned me. It's always been there for me. And whenever I put in the hard work, it's always rewarded me with, my body changing in a positive way, feeling healthier, stronger, leaner, better. But when I neglected my body, when I neglected fitness, like I didn't put in time in the gym and stick to it, I didn't make the habits, I didn't eat healthy, and also the opposite effect happened. I got weaker, I got fatter, I gained weight, right? So fitness has always been there for me, and it's always been true to me, right? Whereas people haven't, circumstances haven't, right? So if you can kind of look at fitness that way, then maybe, that'll help you out a bit in your journey, right? So I just wanted to share that story with you guys a bit, and maybe it'll help or resonate with someone out there who's also been struggling, right, over the years with with fitness or achieving the body they want or the life they want, even, I mean, for that matter. So if this video helped you guys, please subscribe and like below. I really appreciate that. Visit me at alphamatfitness.com. I got a daily blog there I do every single day. Until next time, stay healthy, stay focused, and stay fit. Talk to you later. Bye.